Hey, so I think that everyone that has a 3D printer wants to make their printer print faster. I mean, 3D printing has come a long way, and behind me, this printer is super fast. But could it be faster? That's the question. Well, today we're going to try out this 0.6mm nozzle for this Bambu Lab printer over here. And while I'm testing this for the Bambu Lab printer, you can get a 0.6mm nozzle for nearly every printer on the market. But I'm not just going to print a bunch of side-by-side tests and get all scientific about it, because honestly, that's pretty boring and it's a giant waste of plastic. Instead, we're going to actually test this thing out by making something, and it's going to be something big. So this video is like a 2-in-1. Let's do some research, and we're also going to make something. Now, as you watch this design come together on the screen, I do want to talk a little bit about nozzle sizes, just in case you're new to the topic. Most 3D printers these days come with a 0.4mm nozzle, and that really means that the hole in the very tip of the nozzle is 0.4mm. The print doesn't necessarily print at exactly 0.4, but that's the size of the hole in the nozzle. So the nozzle that we're testing here is 0.6. And if my math's right on this, that means it's 50% more. But, I'm sure you're thinking at this point, if the nozzle is larger, doesn't that mean that we're going to lose print quality? And that's a great question. That's why this big design also has some small parts. So we're going to put that to the test too. So at this point you can see the box that I'm making. Specifically, this is going to be a box that houses all of my camera equipment, so it's not just sitting all around my office. Honestly, the design's pretty simple, but it includes a large area for holding the equipment, a drawer for small things, and a lid that can be taken completely off when the case isn't on the go. Finally, it has hinge clips that'll keep the lid on, as well as keep the drawer shut when it's all locked up. And you might also be asking, how's that equipment just floating in midair? Well, it's not. The idea here is that I'm going to use packing foam and cut it so all the equipment fits snug and it won't get damaged. I'm also going to cover how I did that too. Like I said, this is like a 2-in-1 video. All right, now that it's designed, let's print this out and give it a test. And by the way, if you like this design that I'm doing here, head down to the description where I'll have a link to the full 3D model as well as the STLs so you can print this yourself. And while you're down there, maybe hit that like button and subscribe if you aren't already. Cool? All this printing went super smooth. I printed the whole thing in Bambu Lab PETG, and with this 0.6mm nozzle, it was actually faster. And here's some screenshots of the comparison between the two times, one with the 0.4 and one with the 0.6. So it's not 50% faster, but it is faster. And I'm sure I could have made this even faster by tweaking the settings a little bit, but I still wanted the quality to be nice. Honestly, you tell me, if I didn't tell you that this was a 0.6mm nozzle, would you have ever known? I don't think I would have. So let me get in real close here. Here's the layer lines. Take a good look at them. And here is a very slim divider in the box where you can see that there's no quality issues at all, even though it's very thin. You can even see that if I push on this, it flexes a little bit. And as for the smaller parts, here's the clips. Now, I had some bed adhesion issues with a couple of these and I had to reprint them, but I don't think it had anything to do with the nozzle, to be honest with you. I cleaned the build plate and everything worked on the second try. Now, these clips are pretty intricate. They get thin in places and they have to be pretty precise to get the satisfying snap when you close them. Loud noise warning, but here's that snap sound. Oh, and you know what, I guess that was in the wrong order, but assembly was done with some simple M5 nuts and bolts. I threaded the bolts through the holes and through the clips on one side. The other side was just another bolt to catch the clip on. And that's another point in the plus column for this larger nozzle. The holes were accurate and everything threaded through really easily. All right, now it's time to turn this box into the actual thing that I wanted it to be. And to do that, I need to cut some packing foam. All right, so next step is to cut the holes in the foam. I'm not positive that there's any way I'm gonna get this done and have it look like really good. I did some research on this and found a few different things. Some people said to use like an electric knife, and the electric knife thing, I don't know, I mean, it looks like it works, but to be honest with you, it's too big. Like, I'm trying to do some pretty precision stuff here, so I don't think that's gonna work out. I did find another very interesting video on YouTube for somebody that said to use a hacksaw blade. And what I found so far is that it actually does work pretty well. I did some sample cuts though. Like, you can get cleaner cuts with the hacksaw blade. Cutting circles is still gonna be a challenge. And also, I have this knife, or saw. I think I'm gonna use this. It's got a sharp enough point in the end that I can poke it through, and then I can kind of work it around. So anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and get into this. This was not easy, but for as bad as I thought it was going to look when I did it, it honestly turned out just fine. So the first thing that I did was I cut the strips of foam so that way they fit into the box and made like a solid filling. After that, I started at the bottom layer and worked out my first cut for the equipment that would protrude down that far. For the detailed cuts, I used that little saw I mentioned. For the straight cuts, I used the hacksaw blade. The trick is to keep the blade moving as much as possible. Don't stop sawing while you're turning corners or you'll start to get rips and weird chunks coming out of the sides and things like that. After the deepest layer, it was kind of rinse and repeat for all the other layers. Trace the lines with a marker and then cut and then test fit. After not too long, it was done. Oh, but wait, there's one more thing. I really wanted this case to do everything, including charging all the equipment when the equipment wasn't in use. One of the things I put in here is a USB charging brick that has several USB-A and USB-C ports. I then ran a power cord through the foam and out the hole in the back. With the power cord in the back, it's kind of like I have a plug-in case. I can keep all this stuff plugged in when it's not in use, and I can even plug it in when I take the box somewhere else because it's just as simple as plugging it into an outlet. So, was this nozzle a good investment? I'd say yes, definitely. It saves time printing, and unless you're printing something super high resolution, you'd never even know. And honestly, if you were going to print something that was super high resolution, you'd probably want a 0.2mm nozzle instead of the 0.4 that comes with the printer anyway. So I think that's what I'll be doing after all these 0.4s that I have wear out. I'll get a 0.2, and I'll get a 0.6, and I'll swap them back and forth for whatever I need. Now, as for cutting packing foam with a hacksaw, yeah, it works. I'm not sure I picked the right foam for the job in retrospect, but I'm pretty happy with it anyways. And like I said, if you want to make this yourself, check out the description and maybe just lightly tap the like button on your way by. Until next time, I hope I helped you learn faster.